Hi everybody, welcome to my channel Humble Hus. Let's make a beanie, a very basic beanie for your little one, for yourself. Give it away, whatever you want to make it for. Let me show you what I'm using for this one. The yarn for this beanie is this Heartland yarn by Lion brand, and it is 100% acrylic. It is a medium 4 weight. The recommended hook size is a 6mm hook. It is machine washable and dryable. This is the Black Canyon, but I'm going to be using this gray one. I don't recall the color of this one. Sorry about that. I don't know what I do with these little papers. What do you do with them? You will need scissors, a yarn needle, a ruler, and some stitch markers. I will be using this 5.5mm hook, or a size I. Now if you're asking yourself, why are you not using the size that is recommended? If I use a smaller hook, then it will be tighter in between the stitches. I will show you the sizing guide so that you know how many rounds you need to make depending on the size that you're making this for. For now, we are going to start with an adjustable ring, or a magic ring if you like to call it like that. You can Google them, there's many ways to do them, but this is how I do it. So I take the loose end and I put it under the incoming yarn, like so. I grab my hook, I go through that loop, and then I start to pull that incoming yarn kind of up, so through that loop, and then you carefully have to hold everything together. It is quite tricky, yes. Do you see that? So it's kind of twisted there, and now I'm going to grab that incoming yarn, twist it, and pull it through that loop. And once again, twist and pull through that loop. So there are my 2 chains. These chains do not count. All right, do not pull on this ring yet. We are going to start with half double crochets. You're going to yarn over, insert into the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop. I know, it's a little difficult to hold everything together. Then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. There is your half double crochet. Take your stitch marker or paper clip if you have it. I do recommend using them in these projects. Like whenever I'm making beanies, I always use stitch markers. All right, there's your first half double crochet, and we are going to make 10 of these. So yarn over, insert through this loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. Again, yarn over, into the loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through all 3. I'm going to pull on this a little bit so that the ring gets a tiny bit smaller, not too much. And I am going to continue until I have 10 half double crochets. Okay, so remember that you start counting not from those 2 chains that you made, but from that first half double crochet. That is why I love these stitch markers, because then you can easily count. So 2, 4, and now I continue. Okay, I have my 10 half double crochets. Now we are going to pull on this loose end so that we can close this ring. There you have it. All right, now we go into that stitch where the stitch marker is. You're going to go through those. There's 2 loops. You're going to yarn over, pull through, and now you're going to pull that loop through the loop that was on your hook. So that is a slip stitch. And we are going to chain 2 again. 1 and 2. And because we have this stitch marker, it is easy to see where your first stitch goes. So we're going to continue with half double crochets, go in through that space, and I'm going to run this loose end along with it so that I don't have to thread it in afterwards. But it doesn't matter if you don't do it, okay? We can always thread it in later. So there's my first half double crochet. I'm going to take out the stitch marker and add it right here so that I know where my first stitch is on that second round. Now we need to make another half double crochet stitch into that same stitch. So in here, yarn over, go through, and remember I'm still running this loose end along so that I don't have to thread it in. Alright, so because there's two in the same stitch, that is called an increase. And we need to do increases into every single stitch. So into this next stitch that we have right here, we are going to do 2 half double crochets again. And so on into each of those 10 stitches that we had for a total of 20 half double crochet stitches for that second round. All right, now I have, and you can always count starting from your stitch marker. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. Ah, did I forget a stitch somewhere? I did, right here. Okay, you see, when you're talking, you forget stitches. Okay, that's okay. Wasn't too bad. This can happen to anyone. A good example of why you should always count your stitches again. Now that I have my 20 stitches, I am going to go back here where the stitch marker is, insert my hook, and do a slip stitch again. Go through and go through that loop and chain 2. All right, for round 3, you start once again with your half double crochet into that stitch where the stitch marker is. Take out my stitch marker, add it over here, and do another half double crochet into that same stitch. So you're always going to start with an increase as long as you're growing the top of the beanie. For round number 3, as you saw, I did the increase right here in the first one. Now the next stitch is only going to have 1 half double crochet. And then the stitch after that is going to have an increase, so 2 half double crochets. Then 1 half double crochet. Then another increase, so 2 half double crochets. So 1 increase, 1 increase, 1 increase, and so on until you have a total of 30 stitches when you get to the end. That was the end of round number 3. There you can see where I end. I have 30 stitches in total, and I am going to join with a slip stitch once again and chain 2. So now I'm going to explain to you how this thing with the sizing works. So you're going to look at the sizing guide that I'm putting up, and you're going to measure the circle. You're going to see how many inches you have. So if you're making this for a preemie, for a very small preemie, you could stop here. If you're making it for a newborn, you could probably go 1 or 2 more rounds, kind of like around this range. And obviously you keep going depending on what age you're making this for. And the way you keep going, if we continue this next round, you're going to do an increase right here as usual. So your 2 half double crochets into this first stitch, right where the stitch marker is. And then you're going to go into the next stitch and do a half double crochet, and then into the next stitch and do another half double crochet. Then you do an increase. Then a half double crochet, half double crochet, increase, half double crochet, increase. Okay? And then for that next round after that, you would do an increase and then half double crochet, half double crochet, half double crochet, increase, half double crochet, half double crochet, half double crochet, increase. Right? So now there's 3 half double crochets in between each increase. And if you're going to do it even bigger, then you would have 4 half double crochets in between the increases, or 5 or 6, depending on, as you keep growing the circle, you start having more of those stitches in between. All right, I will meet you when you are done with the size of your circle. I'm going to stop right here after round 4, and I have 40 stitches in total. This is how much it measures, about 3.5 inches. Okay, now I am ready to do the body of the beanie. But we're going to do the back and the front half double crochets. It's just working into either the front loop or the back loop of the corresponding stitch. I am going to start this round by going through the front loop. You see those 2 loops? There's one loop and there's that other loop. We're going to alternate front, back, front, back. Going to go into the next stitch, but in that back loop only. Now I move on to the next stitch and I'm only going into the front loop. That is how you're going to continue. Just make sure you go into the correct stitch because they do look like they're together. Just go all around doing back, front, back, front. Obviously make sure that you have the same amount of stitches than your last round of increases. Every round that I start, I'm going to start with the front loop. You're going to continue doing rounds of this pattern until you reach the length of the hat that you want, or I should say height of the hat that you want, of the beanie that you want. Okay, I now reached the end of the beanie. This is how big I want it. And I am going to, obviously I joined with a slip stitch on this last row. Let's cut this off. You can take out the stitch marker. And I just like to yarn over once more and pull this yarn through there. Take your yarn needle and thread it in. So just go into different stitches and start pulling that through there. Obviously, it is up to you if you want to add the little button. Just please make sure that you secure it very well because it is a choking hazard. So please, 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 I'm not going to show you how to sew a button, but if you do, just make sure that it's very secure on this little beanie. Obviously, never leave a child unattended with any type of hat or headband or scarf. All right, now I am going to cut this off. And this just works itself right into the pattern. And I will actually put the button right there. It's nice and stretchy. There is your little beanie. I hope this was a fun and easy project. I would love for you to follow me on Instagram and share your projects with me. I will see you next time. This is Humble House. Bye.